Wow. Did you guys know this? 350,000 New Yorkers left the city in the last 2 years. Simultaneously, we were getting thousands of migrants. It's very, very interesting. According to the AM, this is what I'm reading from. According to AM Metro, the free Metro newspaper that you'll see, I usually get them at 14th Street Union Square when I transfer from the Q to the 4-5 train. So hundreds of, let me see. Yeah. I had to put on the light. Hundreds of thousands of New Yorkers have left the city over the past 2 years to live in cheaper towns across the United States, according to a recent report from a real estate data company. And I'm assuming it's probably Zillow or StreetEasy. Property Shark's latest report showed that more than 352,000 fed up New Yorkers left the Big Apple in 2022. Citing affordability reasons. And I'm not surprised because on one hand, you're giving people who haven't paid into the system, and I keep saying this, on one hand, you have migrants coming in and they're not paying into anything, and you're giving them free stuff. They can stay at the hotels and shelters for free and get subsidized food, clothing, whatever they need. And then on the flip side, you're charging New York residents sky high rents where they're not able to afford basic necessities, food, groceries, transportation, childcare, in some cases mortgages. That's not fair. So a lot of people are, and then not to mention the crime. The crime has gone up exponentially in the city, and crazy crimes at that. People attacking each other with knives, people attacking each other or shoving each other on the subway. The postal worker got into an altercation and got stabbed up in a bodega. Things like this doesn't it doesn't make people feel safe and feel that this is a place where they want to live. So I'm not surprised. I'm actually surprised there's not more people who are leaving. The report, which examined the latest IRS data on address changes to see where New Yorkers were headed, also found that remote working made these moves easier for individuals and families. One thing that the pandemic opened up was the ability for people to work from home. And I myself, as an agent, especially back in 2020 and 21, when I was moving people around and stuff, I noticed that too. A lot of people wanted to have a bigger space, especially here in Brooklyn. They wanted to have a big space so they can work at home. A lot of people, not everybody's an engineer or a techie where they are working from home. Sometimes they're working at an online bank or their customer service rep. They have good connection with internet and a computer. That's all they need. So I'm not surprised that this pandemic really opened up a new way to earn money without stepping outside and having to commute to your office, pay for parking, deal with unruly coworkers, you know the vibe. So while New York's output was greater than its input, the report found that 174,000 people moved into the bustling city. You see, that's the thing. So you have 350,000 people move out of the city, and then you have 174 move in, right? So it's like a net. Am I doing my math here? A net 106. Is that what it is? I was good at math at one point, and now I'm like, I suck at math, boy. All right, let's do the math. Let's do the math. 350. Where we go? 350 minus 174. 176. What did I say? 106? 176. 176,000. So they found that people were moving to places like upstate, New Jersey, California, and Florida. And you see what's happening in California. I think some people moving probably Southern California, if I had to guess. Northern California has its vibe too, but Northern California, if it's not as expensive, like San Francisco, for example, I think a one bed over there is about $3,000 or $4,000. If it's not, I don't think most people are moving San Fran. They're most likely moving into the South Bay area, which is Southern California and Florida. Oh, Florida's Florida. But one thing I noticed with some people who move to Florida, they move right back. And if they're moving to Georgia, they move right back to New York. Because even though the salaries there are much lower, depending on what type of job you get. But if you get an online job, then you'll be able to take your salary there. So the cost of living is much lower and it's much more affordable, but you don't get a high paying job. That's the caveat to that. High earners were more likely to move to New York than out of it, specifically those who earn $100,000 or more a year. So the research from April of 2024 backs up this point. The point is that a family of four needs to make about $318,406 in order to live comfortably in the city. That's a lot of money. So a family of four needs to live, in order for them to live comfortably in the city, their parents need to earn over $320,000, at least close to it. Despite the mass exodus, Mayor Adams' administration has been spearheading the initiatives to keep high cost of living down. I don't know how they're doing that, because I checked some Zillow data recently, and it seems like the Manhattan rents especially are going up. And then there are some downtown area like Williamsburg, East Williamsburg area. Those rents are also going up slightly, by a couple of $100. So I don't know how they plan on keeping the cost down. According to Kayla, she's a press secretary for the mayor, the administration is using every tool in our toolbox to put money back in the pockets of New Yorkers and address the major issues driving up the cost of living. Well, the major issue of driving up the cost is the free housing that you're giving to a whole bunch of migrant people. Like, our system is already burdened. I think our system is already burdened by the homeless population, and that's another thing in itself that we do need to do something about. But yeah, we have multiple programs that are burdening this system, and somebody needs to pay for it. The taxpayers need to pay for it. So on the city level, since taking office, Mayor Adams has helped New Yorkers save about $30 billion by launching and administrating and helping New Yorkers take advantage of programs at all levels of government, from accessing free internet through the Big Apple Connect to reduce subway fares through, well, I don't know about that, because people are still jumping the turnstiles. They're still evading the metro cost. So I don't know how advantageous this has been. And helping New Yorkers save $30 billion, where? I don't think that people feel like they're saving anything. I digress. So he's saying that through reduced subway fares, like the fair fares program, and earning money for groceries, rent, and day-to-day expenses by increasing the earned income tax credit, you don't really get that much back, especially as a single person. I don't get that much back from the earned income tax credit. Income tax credit. Maybe if you have children, maybe that's otherwise, but I don't think you really do. In December, the mayor also called on the state to pass the tax for the working class, which would do away with personal income tax for those who have at least one dependent making at or below the 150% of the federal poverty level. Now, federal poverty level is extremely low, and most people won't qualify for that because, like, our poverty level for New York would be 40,000 a year or 35,000 a year. Poverty level on the Fed level is 15,000 a year, 15 or 20,000 a year. And most people in New York City they earn much more than that, but they're still economically poor for the state. Another group of about 125,500 New Yorkers simply moved with the sprawling city, according to the Property Shark report, bouncing from one borough to the other, with Manhattan taking in the most intra-city movers. So Manhattan is taking lots of people. The city's smallest sized borough welcomed more than 10,000 more than Brooklyn, around 8,000, and the Bronx just more than 6,000. I'm kind of surprised, but not really surprised that Bronx takes in a fraction of what Manhattan and Brooklyn takes, because again, even though the Bronx is traditionally a little more affordable than most of the boroughs, it's it's a jungle out there. It is a jungle out there, depending what part of the Bronx we're talking about. And then Staten Island is only taking 700 new residents. Well, Staten Island is Staten Island. Staten Island is Staten Island. Conversely, more than 35,000 Manhattanites moved to the outer boroughs. So everybody from Manhattan is moving to the outer boroughs, and then outer boroughs moving into Manhattan. So you have a net gain there, with the recent home sales reaching a median of 1 million. Yep. Most of the 352,000 residents who left the Big Apple in 2022 did not go far. Nearly half of them stayed in the tri-state area, like the New Jersey, Connecticut, etc., with about 79,000 of them relocating to various counties within the state and New Jersey and Connecticut. So, yeah, very interesting. My fellow New Yorkers are making the right moves. I think not just the cost of living, but just the direction of the state. You know, I'm one of those people that, like, I love the city, but I don't know where the direction of the state is going, because things have gotten so bad. There are lots to do there, you know, a lot of fun things to do. I don't want to sound like doom and gloom the first week of the year, but the reality is that New York needs a facelift. It definitely needs a facelift. It's still a great place to come visit and tour, sightseeing. There's tons of stuff to do here. Lots of museums, great place to go. But I think at the end of the day, you want to live somewhere where it's safe, it's economically affordable for yourself and your family, because most of us who live here, we live, work to pay rent and bills and eat and sleep. And that's about it. And maybe take care of our kids somewhere in between. And that's it. You know, not much of a life. And then you go outside of New York City and you try to take that same kind of hustle bustle attitude, and it doesn't go far. They want to know, they're like, just calm down. Things go a little bit slower in this state, you know. That happens. But anyway, that's it for this video. I will see you guys in the next one. Yeah. Happy rest of the week and enjoy your weekend. And I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.
What's up?